you had to do the cards and bring the cards in, you ever drop them cards, you were in trouble.
Well, I was there, and they had a whole room for a computer. I mean, the computer was as big as his room.
They say that when NASA was running the space shuttle and that, your phone has more power than their room of computers did.
Well,
Gotta get out
the
of
last big
YouTube.
project I was on was this whole big consolidated audit trail, and it's all the US
And
exchanges,
audio.
options and
You join me. I have recorded it, enough of it, most of my Christmas. One is electric.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, when did it come on to? Last I talked to you, it was off. And then you were gonna go to lunch, but you didn't know if. Electric.
It came back on.
Oh, God.
There's some.
Amy, Amy,
To the end there.
I'll have to move it with the white one,
Someone that gave it right in there.
with the white remote. Get down there.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's got a remote.
Yeah. I don't do
Nobody's
it
ever
like that. Okay, how do I? Oh, there's my glasses.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nobody's ever.
I could have broke my neck.
Even at the
All
commissioners,
these times.
even the commissioners meetings, they don't move it.
There you go. Now we know.
See the importance you are to the board.
For one thing.
Gonna be three.
Hey, you just figured out how to get the picture on. It's awesome. They didn't have the picture on the last one.
Okay.
That was meaning the word.
Do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I was gonna tease it, just put a remote plan.
That was great.
Okay, did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes that were on from the February meeting? Any discussion, corrections?
There's just one little point, and Amy misspelled Spencer England's last name,
Who's?
Spencer England.
Oh,
He was one of the commenters, it's spelled like the country,
okay.
that's the only thing I noticed.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I would make a motion that we accept the minutes as corrected by David.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Okay. Green roof quotes for Brownfield renovation.
Okay, so Rick Green has taken a lead on a lot of the things on our renovation project. And so he did the work on gathering the quotes for the roof. So we got into the project and realized the roof was not included in the initial bid. And so these are, if you look into the packet, the first several, okay, so the first packet are the roof quotes. So what you guys need to decide is, do we want to do the roof? Which company do we want to go with? And do we want to, Rick had them go ahead and bid it as a whole project or piece by piece? If we wanted to do just maybe a few of the buildings, like the beach house and the garage that really needs it. So you're looking at, you know, base quotes on that. One of them only has one page. That man is Amish. Amish don't waste a lot of paper.
we have four quotes total.
If Rick was here, he could tell you more about his experience with working with each group, which he has worked with all of them. He does have a preference, if you want me to tell you what it is.
Sure.
He said he thought Button Construction, not just because of the fact that their bid came in the lowest, but he said they are very hardworking, they are local, they're out of Pulaski County, and they do really good work. I think they probably all do good work, but these guys are more local.
One of them is more than twice as high as the rest, so.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, yeah.
So Button here on the front. 43,000, that's for all the roofs?
Yes, that would be everything. And so that includes the beach house roof, the garage, the bathhouse on the campsite, the bathrooms down on the north end, both guard shacks, the pump house and the ice house on the campsite. So pretty much everything except the pavilions, because to me, they looked fairly new.
And is that all shingles?
It's all metal.
All metal.
Yes. Oh, and that was the other thing. Rick said to let you guys know that Button Construction is a quote for the little bit better metal. I think the Sherwin-Williams, it's a little bit better.
Thicker metal.
Mhm.
Oh, and these are the little,
And so there, he's giving us the price of the little bit cheaper metal, but we get the better metal. That was the
So
other.
is the better one, the non-glare?
Mhm.
Okay,
That Sherwin-Williams stuff. And
these are the colors?
yeah, and then on, also that little swatch right there, those are non-glare, so they're not gonna blind anybody if the sun's coming off that metal roof.
But this is all, would all have to be covered under whatever we have existing, and we probably have to get a special appropriation to be
So,
able to
yeah,
get
so-
this, right?
it looks like, because I'm about to lay some more things on you guys, that we have the money in our budget, but I am gonna have to ask the council to appropriate some of our money to cover some of these things. So basically, if you decide to choose one, then I would need to go to the council and probably ask their permission to spend that money.
Yeah, we have the money, we just have to get it.
Yeah,
But that's about half of what, right?
well,
Of what we have,
right now,
it's extra. Right?
right, we have,
Well, that's quite a bit, so it's digging into that quite a bit.
oh, yeah. So we have about 19,000 in repair and maintenance now. But in our cash, right now, we have 110,000.
I wonder. If we, I guess it's a question for Justin, maybe. If we do go ahead and say, yep, okay with this, and it's really not part of the project, is there any way that?
No, Chris, so
gets
Krista
accredited
is
for-
involved, she is in full support, we can do this, yeah, it's not gonna cut into our grant or.
Well, no, what I was the question I was gonna ask is if we do spend this extra money, is there a way that it can get counted towards the credit of the 50-50 match? It's just a question.
Okay,
I mean, I don't,
yeah. I could-
especially if it's gonna come out of the money in our account.
Is the
There's not a lot of-
already satisfied by what the,
Well, the county's already said they would do the 50-50,
Yeah.
so the council was doing, I forget what that is, like 500.
Yeah.
And then,
So,
and then the commissioners were doing the rest.
yeah,
you know, I don't know if they actually appropriated, I mean, they appropriated, but I don't know if they're spending it.
Well, we've just gotten one invoice, right? We've got one invoice
You'd probably have to talk to the commissioners
and the
and
council.
the council and see if that would be a possibility. That if but see that, the roof's not part of that original,
It's not,
yeah, I don't
so
know,
probably not.
yeah, I don't know,
probably not.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt, but
right, I'll try to I'll look into it though.
that's a pretty big.
And how long do we have before we have to make a decision on that? I mean, are these prices good for a period of time?
I wish Rick was here. I would say, I do know that he said the Amish, Amos Schwartz said that he is starting to get very busy, and if we didn't choose him or he didn't get going soon, he was gonna be too busy. I don't know if we can say that for the rest of these guys. I do know it's getting that time of year where everyone's starting to make,
Well, my other question is, has anyone talked to Brown and Brown?
yeah, they're on board. I mean, I talked to them today. They sent over some other things for us to look at.
Okay, but I guess my question is, if we hire someone else to do the roof,
They're okay with it.
it's
Yep.
not gonna interfere with.
Nope,
what
they
they're-
said it's totally fine. They can work right at the same time because it's, not gonna be in their way or anything like that.
we should double check to make sure that.
I mean, I
That's- that's
definitely
if we
spoke
do
to
it
them
at the same time.
specifically about that. I asked them to give a quote, but I think they're just too busy. Like, they just can't fit it in. So they're definitely okay with someone else doing the work.
And obviously, we want to do, if we do it, we want to do it right away so that nothing inside gets,
Mm.
Well, yeah, I mean,
anything that we're doing new, we don't want to.
Yeah. Well, I don't think, well, I don't,
I think prices are only gonna go up,
yeah,
probably.
They are.
Steel tariffs start.
Yeah, so
Tomorrow.
I think we should make a move. Rick told me
Yeah.
if we decide on the roof to call him tonight and let him know, so, but I don't think I can do that. Yeah,
But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, but I think any kind of motion we make is gonna be contingent on.
yeah, so it won't matter, but yeah, I mean, I
It's
can make,
contingent on the council appropriating this
Right.
extra amount out of our cash on hand
Yes.
available, so.
that is how that would work. So it wouldn't matter what if you guys,
We can
Decide
do
to
it.
go forward.
The council. approving it.
I'll get myself on the agenda for Monday.
I think it's kind of a no-brainer, I
Okay.
mean, Button seems to be by far the cheapest.
Mhm.
And Rick thinks they're reliable and a good company, so that seems like a reasonable way to go, I don't know.
And we run it to them all, I would guess, right?
Yeah, I think if we decide to do roofs, we should do all the roofs.
Yeah, we
You
won't
said
have
there
to
was
do
about
it for
110
decades.
in there,
Mhm.
is
Won't
what,
have to do
that
it.
cash available, not appropriated right now?
And I think they should all be the same color, whatever color. you
Yeah,
choose.
I'm colorblind.
Just, give you guys a note, I don't know if you wanna match colors. This north pavilion is done in a metal roof,
Oh, okay.
so I don't know. if
It's a
whatever-
brown though.
Well, I don't know what you're picking, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, is the pavilion included in any? of it?
no, I left the pavilions out because they look
I'm not
so
really-
new.
Well,
Yeah.
she said to match though, but
Yeah.
the south pavilion is only a handful of years old.
Yeah, yeah. so
Well,
I
to me,
didn't-
I think we probably, my view is we probably want to keep them the same, but we want to match it to the best to the beach house.
The beach house is the biggest item.
That's the one that's getting painted, right?
Rick
I don't
said
know,
he's
was the
they're
bathhouse
probably good for
painted?
2 weeks tops. He just,
Yeah. What's the bathhouse?
So what's good for 2 weeks?
The quotes are good for about 2 weeks
Is it
and
real?
pops.
Is the bathhouse being painted too?
Mhm.
And then we're picking that color too?
the bathhouse, yeah, I mean.
So I would think we'd keep it the same as what the beach house is, right?
Yeah, it'll all be the same, yeah.
Did you settle on a color?
No,
Well, what do you think about colors?
I'm not the right guy.
What color are the walls gonna be on the outside of the buildings?
We kind of settled on that blue and white.
if you look.
Is it just blue?
That is not the beach house, obviously,
That
but similar to what it would be, and that's with a gray, just a plain old gray,
It was white.
I don't think it looks too bad.
Everybody liked, right?
Yeah.
That
lighter
made-
creamish.
Yeah, that made it stand out
Yeah.
better.
This is the middle one.
Yeah,
Looks good to me. I don't know what you guys think.
I've got another roof for my house and.
Let me tell you something about the roofs, because I got one on my porch. First of all, you get the commercial grade. It's a better quality, costs more. And if you do that, you get the screws that are countersunk. that don't sit on the outside and rust after 15 years. That's the better roof what I got. Now, the color chart, I don't know where you're going, but Rayco is one of the biggest ones from Rochester in the area there. But the particular blue that we picked for that wasn't on that chart, so it had to be a special order. And when he came back to my contractor, he said it's gonna cost me for that small roof because of that color, an extra $350 for that blue.
Light color.
We wouldn't have known that if he hadn't said that. I'd have said, go ahead and do it. I canceled him. I went to Menards. I got the same roof, the same guarantee. And not only did I get it cheaper than that, then I got 11% off on it. So I'm just letting you know. You know about that color.
Just to add what Rick said, the better, I don't even know if they do the old ones anymore, but you want the one with the hidden fasteners?
Yes.
Because the exposed fasteners have O-rings on them,
Right.
and in 10 to 15 years, the O-rings crack and leak, and you have to have them all redone.
Yeah.
Correct.
I don't even know if they do those anymore. But they just do the hidden ones now.
And he responded pretty quick, right?
Rick, yeah,
Should we ask him if we know if the roofs are the hidden fasteners or not?
I want to say yes, because I was out there for almost all of these bids except for one, and they talked about that. Yes, will all be hidden. They discussed that and they were talking about doing it properly.
Can I say something? Because we do have around Coos Lake, and I noticed that the real light color roof get dirty really fast,
oh,
you know, so.
I can imagine, okay.
The what color?
Like,
The light
Oh,
bulbs.
like-
I think we were looking at that charcoal gray.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
anything that's gonna block,
That one, Teresa?
trying to drive by either.
Yes.
Yeah, I think,
That's a nice color.
yeah, that's, I think, the exact one in the photo.
Yeah. I like this color combination.
I do too.
We all in agreement?
Yeah, you want somebody to make a motion?
Yeah, let's make a motion.
Rick said, no, they're not.
Oh.
No,
Fasteners are not hidden on the roof.
What were they talking about?
I don't know.
What would the price upgrade be?
Into that one. Well, it's twice as much. Had-
No, I'm talking about from this button or whoever.
He said it would be more expensive. But. Who knows how much?
Does he recommend doing it? Yeah.
Let's have to worry about it. Gonna do what you can afford.
I don't remember, because we did the same thing on the property owners, and I don't remember it being like excessively funny. 'Cause we did the same thing, we did with the hidden,
You went, did you get a quote for both?
yes, and I don't remember, I know it was more,
Well,
but I don't
so-
remember it being that much more, because we still went with the hidden anyway. On the property owner.
He's typing.
Well, while we're waiting on Rick, if you guys want to, also then there's gutter quotes. We were only able to get 2 quotes for gutters. Because those were not included. So,
Rick says he would recommend it, but the others would do just fine also.
he would recommend it.
Mhm.
The hidden ones, right?
Did
The
he
hidden
was-
ones, but he says the other ones will be fine, and now he's typing something.
I want, if you're okay with it, make. a
He
motion.
says it's the same thing he put on the annex building, so on this roof that we did,
Can't imagine.
last
it's gonna be
summer,
More than 70.
as the fasteners on the outside.
15 something.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, then I would make a motion contingent upon the county council approving the additional appropriations out of our existing funds, awarding the bid to Button Construction with the hidden fasteners, not to exceed 50,000. Because the price here is 43,145, so I don't think it's gonna be more than that, so.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we're going with the Garfield.
okay,
I don't know what's called, Cinder or whatever.
The charcoal,
Yeah, whatever it's called.
okay.
All of the above.
okay, so then there are 2 quotes for gutters. Why, do you remember why Rick said that we needed the gutters?
Well, because the house is below grade right now, and they're trying to figure out a way to get the water away from the beach house. Because they have to change the pitch of the road. that
And you
goes-
got prices for those?
Yes, so in your packets, there are
They're right
2
here.
gutter quotes. One from A&M Home Service and one from HB. Lot cheaper. And again, Rick said that his recommendation would be HB. He's used both. They're really good. And a lot more reasonable.
Oh, good.
And this is just on the beach house?
That would just be the beach house.
That's the only building that would need them?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Well, and we could. we still have enough money in repair and maintenance to just do this
We-
out of our own without having to go back to the council right now.
Yeah,
And if we have to go at the end of the year for something for repair and maintenance.
but there is one more thing I want to talk about before we get to that.
Okay, is there a motion to approve of gutter,
So that would be H&B, I can take it.
H&B gutters, to do the gutters for the beach house?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And do we have a choice in colors on that, or?
I'm assuming it will be the same or something similar to the roof color. He didn't really say a
I
better
would-
choice
I would-
of color.
I would just suggest that we try to match it as close as
Yeah.
possible to the roof.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what you guys think, but
So just to be clear, we're going with buttons. We want the hidden fasteners,
right.
but if we can't get that, are we accepting it as is?
If we can't get the
If we
hidden.
can't get the hidden for
That's
under
fine.
50?
That's the price on it.
Oh, yeah, I
The
guess
price
we'd have to see what
difference.
I guess we
Yeah.
would just see what the price is.
Okay, I'm just gonna,
The motion's already been made, so we did approve it up to 50,
yeah,
so
but if it's over,
then we'd have to come
We'd
back
have
and
to
do
come
it.
back.
And then we'll do the quotes on it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Or you could ask Buttons, tell them what you can spend if you
I
know.
mean, we could also, just use the.
If it's over, we'll just say no fasteners.
Yeah.
well,
Or no,
Not hidden.
no
no
hidden
hidden.
fasteners,
Yeah.
okay, because he says he doubts if we can get it for under 50, but he's gonna talk to them. Okay,
Wow, that's a big jump.
I didn't think it was
I,
percentage wise that big a difference when we did the property.
Okay.
I could be, it's been a while. We just did it.
2 years, right?
Yeah, about a
Has
year
it
and a
been
half
2
ago.
years? This year.
Yeah.
Okay, Amy, what's next?
Well, I think we'll kind of, let's wait, let's pause and move on in our agenda to where we are with Jack.
Okay,
Hello,
hello.
I got some packets for you. I'm Jackie Ryan from the Stark County Community Foundation. Grew up in Knox, graduated from KHS, actually had Amy as a teacher, so I'm excited to be working with her in this capacity now.
Again, the student becomes.
Thank you.
Like a lot of Jackie, she's really helpful.
Thank you. All right, so first off, just, want to commend everybody for the great work you do to upkeep the Stark County Park properties. And the one that I'm going to be talking about today is the Veterans Memorial, which is out here. When that project was getting going, one of the things that the Community Foundation was able to do was take donations and help pass those through so you guys could do the brick purchasing and allow all of your donors to get a tax notification and be able to have that as something that they could, list as a charitable donation. So during that, they set up a Veterans Memorial and Maintenance Endowment Fund. So for the last couple of years, the distributions for that have just been compounding, and so I'll kind of go over where that is at, but I just wanted to initially just talk about endowments in case you're unfamiliar with them. So that's what this first page is. Just talks about how an endowment fund is started with an initial gift, so that's the principal. So if you hear that those used interchangeably, that's what that means. So then that principal is invested, and we actually invest with some financial advisors out of Fort Wayne and Donaldson Capital Management out of Evansville. They meet with us quarterly to keep us, apprised to what's going on with the market. But so the principal gains interest, and then we take a portion of that interest and award it as a grant or a distribution. And then the remaining interest and the principal continues to be invested and in perpetuity, meaning forever, or what we try to do for forever. So the reason we don't just give the whole interest or what's earned is to be able to protect that principal and allow this fund to continue to support projects and programs, and specifically the Veterans Memorial. So yeah, does anybody have any questions about endowment funds? Because if not, I'll move on to the next page, which is the Stark County Veterans Memorial Maintenance Fund update. So this was set up in 2020. It's a designated fund, and like I said, it was established to provide support for the Veterans Memorial. So any costs that you might incur, don't look at your own budget for that. Definitely just get a hold of the Community Foundation. Right now, you have a spendable balance of $2,586, and that's an accumulation of all the distributions that have come out of it since it was set up. We work on a 12-quarter rolling average, which is 3 years. So now you're actually seeing like all those quarters producing. Your distribution this year based on our 4.25% payout was 1,155. So then looking at that next number, the endowment gift balance, that 26,806. So that is what was used to start the fund, as well as anything that's come in and been donated since then. And then it's earned about 1,761 just through our investments over the last 5 years, and leading to a total fund balance of 31,154. And at the bottom, I include these projections. These are based on our averages, so assuming 8% growth, a 4% payout, and then a 1.5% admin fee. If another dollar wasn't donated to this fund, within the next 25 years, your fund balance would grow to 49,973 with cumulative distributions over 38,000. So that's if you didn't draw anything out, it will continue to grow. And then in 50 years, your distributions will actually surpass what your fund balance is to that 98,541 with a fund balance of 75,899. And like I said, those are our averages. Sometimes we have more growth than 8% or lower than 8%, but it all averages out over the last 30 years to about 8%. And then, yeah, go ahead.
So the spendable balance, I'm assuming that the reason why that's 2,500 is that there was a balance from previous
Yeah,
distributions.
it's been compounding, so yeah.
Okay.
And in previous years, it was kind of, like I said, since we work on that quarter average, I think the first year, maybe it produced like $39, because there were certain quarters that were zero.
Right.
But yeah, so that's why.
1,400 in there before.
Yep.
Before previous year.
Yep, so now, and so it says spendable balance, but that doesn't mean you have to take all of that out. So say you had some kind of. Yeah, you can let it build up for as long as you want, and then that cumulative distribution will kind of show you if you didn't touch it for 25 years, you have about $38,000, give or take. But if something were to happen where you needed to do a repair, or I know that the county has been incurring costs for like flag replacement, if you wanted to be able to free up some of those dollars for other things, you might want to, use this money for that, so you can ask them for something else.
Yeah, because I remember there were some expenditures, I think, last year or maybe the first year I was on, that we actually took out of ours because we weren't sure how to get it from.
Yeah, all you have to do is call, and my number is on those pens that I gave you, and I'm in contact with Amy pretty regularly. So yeah, definitely just let me know if you ever need to draw out of that. It's pretty simple request, just let us know, and then we can cut a check and get it to you. And
Is it a problem if we cover the cost up front and then get reimbursed through you guys, or is that it?
I think that
That's
can
okay.
be done, yeah. So yeah, that's just an overview of your fund. Does anybody have any questions about that before I flip the page? This next one is just an overview of ways that the Community Foundation has been working with the Bass Lake Parks and Recreation, or the Stark County Parks and Recreation board and entity for the last couple of years. So the Stark County Community Fund, those are the dollars that are generated from the community funds that we have that all get pulled together, and then organizations can apply for a grant. So a couple different grants were awarded through that fund, including $5,000 for Bass Lake beach improvements back in 2018, $28,500 that went towards the Veterans Memorial Project from our community funds, $1,500 in 2021 for the kayak and paddle boards out at the beach, and then 2023 Bass Lake beach improvements again for $3,000. And then the Hardesty Memorial Endowment Fund, that's a different type of fund that we have that is donor advised. So we work with a donor directly when we get grant requests in to be able to supplement those community dollars to help more organizations. We sometimes work with donor advisors. So in 2018, they provided $15,200 for the Stark County Forest Project. So that was putting in the parking lot out there, and I believe maybe some of the signage or kiosk, that type of thing. Then in 2019, there was $5,000 for the Yellow River Launch Project. I think you guys have held on to that money. I kind of was notified that it hadn't been spent yet because that project was still being sorted out. So that was awarded then. And then same thing in 2021, there were some permitting costs related to that project that were covered with a $10,000 grant. So in addition to the money that's in your spendable, so that 2,500, there's been $68,200 worth of support from the Community Foundation directly to the Stark County Park Board.
Wow.
And then the final page is just how to apply for more grants. So if you guys are working on any projects where you think you might need some additional funding, I just kind of laid out that we have impact grants that are for anything over $25,000, support grants that range, you know, from over 2,500 up to that 25,000 number. Micro grants, which are $2,000 and under. So for anything that's kind of a quick project, it's a shorter application. And then we have the Hive, which is a women's giving circle where we have members of the community who pay dues into that and then award grants during that process. And we're currently accepting video applications for that. That's the only grant avenue that takes video applications, and those are due in April. It's kind of a fun way if you have something that's really like a dynamic project that would be better to show rather than tell, like in an application, to be able to record that and get some potential support from the Hive, which is just through the Community Foundation. And then just some other information about factors that are considered and certain things that we can't fund just because of national standards and different things set by community foundations. So I went pretty quick. Does anybody have any questions for me about this? I mainly just wanted to come, especially with Amy being new to her position, and some of you maybe being new to this board, to let you know that these funds are available for the Veterans Memorial, and then that the Community Foundation is a resource for applying for funds in the future.
I got a question, maybe you know the answer, but you said 2018 was $5,000 for the Bass Lake Beach and that. Was that for the rocks that they brought in that they put around the beach house there for the erosion and a little bit to the?
I'm
south?
not sure of the specifics of the improvements. I know that the one in 2023 went towards, like, I think grills and maybe some benches and garbage receptacles. Yeah, so the 2018 one, I'm not, as there wasn't a whole lot of project description in our records.
I know we got rock, they got rocks, so they put it all on there for the erosion.
Yeah, that could be, and I can look into that and get some clarification.
You know, Rick, I think that grant came from
Sure.
the Arrowhead RFD out of Winnemac for those rocks. I don't know what that would be for.
What did you say? I heard you say April was,
Yeah, we're accepting video applications for the Hive, which is our women's giving circle. They meet every year around World Bee Day.
what about these other grants? Do they have a cycle too?
No, so these ones you can actually apply for at any time. Yep, and the link to apply is right here up at the top right corner. You can apply at any time, but our grant committee meets on a quarterly basis. So they just met in March. They'll meet again in July. And then, you know, in the other quarters after that. So, but I always recommend that people get an application in sooner rather than later, because in that in-between time, I can work with donor advisors like the one from the Hardesty Memorial Endowment Fund or some of our other DAFs to be able to potentially provide project support before it has to go to the committee.
You said you meet quarterly, next one's July.
Mhm.
So if they were to want to purchase something now, could they put in for the grant, purchase it, then get reimbursed?
So these, I'm talking about two different things. So if, as far as like a grant goes, there's no guarantee that they would get that funding if they were applying for a grant. The distribution from the Veterans Memorial Project, you can get that at any time. So yeah, if they were to purchase something, and then that doesn't work on the same schedule as the grant committee meetings. But great.
So we wouldn't really go through with the purchase unless we actually got awarded the grant.
Yeah, I would say if you're applying for grant funding, wait till you hear about it. If you're drawing from your distribution on the Veterans Memorial Project,
That's different.
that's guaranteed, because you have that money just sitting there, able to spend whenever you guys need it.
Great.
Very good.
Thanks for letting me go through it, Jack. I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, like I said, my contact info is on the pen, so.
Thank you.
These are very nice pens. That's what I was going to be using.
Okay. Next thing on the agenda is Mr. Sin's going to talk about the Park Board Capital Fund discussion.
In the original county ordinance that created the park board and park department, it mentions or it cites the IC, in this case, 36-10-3-2, special non-reverting capital fund purposes and withdrawals. Is that our 4927 fund, our main fund?
I would think so, but I'm not totally sure.
Because what I was wondering is, could we ask the council to create us the equivalent of a cumulative capital fund that we can take our carry over from year to year and just stuff it in there so we have it?
I actually attended the last budget hearing and asked for that specific thing and they weren't as receptive then. Maybe they will be now, but they weren't receptive to that idea.
We've got the carryover.
We got the idea from. So,
We've got the unappropriated money, just stuff it in there, we can save it, use it for,
right,
well, you know, Bass Lake's gonna need an electrical upgrade.
right.
That's a, gonna have to happen.
And at least right now, it isn't it is staying in that same account because we wouldn't have that 110,000 that goes from year to
Yeah.
year. I'm
We've
just
talked
staying
about
there.
that at the beginning.
So, but I agree with you. I think it might be good to create a separate one for specifically for capital improvements.
Yeah, I think he'd have to go in front of
The
the.
council has to approve that.
And prove it, yeah.
Well, we're gonna be going in front of them to ask for appropriation. We keep bringing that up again.
Yeah.
You know, and see, going forward, if they'd be open to something like that.
Yeah.
They weren't last year, so.
Who's new president? New president.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it might be different now, so.
Do we need a motion or just let Amy handle that?
I think we can just let Amy handle that.
Okay.
If that's even possible.
Specifically mentioned, we're not asking for extra money,
Right.
just move the money we have into a different fund, so it's accounted for differently, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's actually a really good time to ask for it again, because. We're not going to them asking for more money, we're just asking them, and especially now that we're gonna ask them for this new appropriation for the roofs and all that stuff. It'll get the idea across to them that it makes sense to have something like this going forward.
Yeah, this fund would have paid for that if it had already existed.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Well, it actually, at least for the roofs now, it will pay for, but.
Yeah,
But at least you got, instead of this big blob of money, you had something separate that was just for capital.
Although if the fund already existed, we could just
Right,
spend
it
it, we
wouldn't
don't
have
need
to
an
ask.
appropriation,
Well, that's
because it's
true.
already there.
Or do you? So you don't have to ask.
I think that's a good question.
It says
Justin.
cumulative
Yeah.
building fund for building, remodeling and repair of park and recreation facilities. So if the money was already in
So
the
we don't
fund,
have to ask.
we could have just spent the money.
Maybe, I'm not sure about that though. Because they're usually, any new money that comes in, they usually got to appropriate whether, I mean, it still stays in Parks and Rec, but I don't know that.
Yeah, we might, maybe you might send
It's a discussion to have, I guess.
It's with them, right? Yeah, one of us could attend,
you might send a question to Justin and see
if you want to attend with
how that works.
I'll see if I can work into my schedule.
Okay,
You think that's a good idea too, Richard, for maybe David to attend the council meeting with Amy and when they have that? So,
yeah.
at least there, if there's additional
try.
questions.
Getting in my busy season, so
Well, if you can't, let me know and
yeah, I'll let you know.
But they sometimes don't. It's receptive for me, so.
Okay. This next one is discussion prorated campground leases and refunds on seasonal leases. Amy and I talked about this a little bit today, earlier. How often is this gonna come up?
I think it comes up very often. There was a person who reached out, I guess last year, they were new campers. And they were offered a prorated rate because they came in after the start of the season. So maybe, I don't know, May or something. Well, because of their busy schedules, they want that same deal for this year. But, so I didn't know how that worked, but I kind of think it was really just because they were new last year. So
Well, it didn't even apply until it was into the year.
We have a wait list, don't we?
Mhm,
I know what happened on that.
mhm.
So last year, the reason why they got prorated is we had somebody that was gonna be on that spot. They said they wanted it and then they backed out. So that spot came open like May. So then
So they didn't
when
have access
Tracy
to it
went to
before
rent
this.
it out, she prorated it because it was
Later in the season.
later in the season, and it was not because the person came later, it's just the spot was opened up later.
Did they come off the wait list? Is that how they?
That was on, she went through the wait list and they happened to be the next one on. She thought she had that spot rented. And those people backed out. So here we are was in May, so that's why that happened.
I would think they just pay full price. This
Yeah, I mean, as long as the spot's open, if they don't go follow the rule where it says you have to verbally say by March 1st and pay by April 1st. It is what it
Otherwise,
is.
don't wanna do it more than once.
Here's my suggestion, and it's just a suggestion. My feeling is we should leave it up to Amy. If there's some special circumstance where she feels it's justified to do something, adjust the rent or whatever. I don't have a problem with her dealing with it. I don't think we need to vote on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just say that our rate is what it is.
Yeah, rate is what it is.
Unless there's some circumstance that they couldn't.
It would be like a situation like what
Yeah.
happened last year. They don't get that same deal every year.
You just deal with it on a case by case basis as it happens. I think that's the best way to deal with it. I don't think we need to vote on it every
agree.
time it comes up.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Is there a
There's a
motion? to
question,
do that?
yeah, there's a question on it.
My question is, I could understand if they came in June or July, but coming in May, I mean, that's really the beginning of camping season anyway.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think we'll just leave it up to Amy to make a decision and use her judgment on it. Okay. Peer lease vote. Is this the peer lease?
Yeah, so I put another copy of this year's,
This is the one we went over in January.
yeah, so this is.
You want
all
to
the
again
ones
last month, but
But we didn't do it. Let's go with the next one.
no, you talked about it. At least that's what the minutes say.
We talked about
We talked about it,
We
yeah,
talked about it.
remember, cause
it. Teresa was new, she hadn't seen it
yes,
before.
she hadn't
Right.
seen it, Sam hadn't been able to see it,
But
so
we
we
took out what
got
you
to-
wanted out in January,
yeah.
Right,
and you wanted to see it typed up,
right, and we got that.
and that's
Yep.
what the hard copy is.
Yeah, I'm still not real pleased with the 20, but it doesn't, it's, no. Number 21, but I'm not gonna vote against it just because I don't think there's any reason why it's somebody from our previous year,
No.
the same spot. But
Yes, sir.
I have a lot of questions on this. First of all, transparency is one thing, and getting a hold of this is another thing.
Are you talking about this
I
2020?
got it now, yeah.
Okay,
I think we're talking about the
You know,
exhibits.
and I've got my lease that I signed from last year, all right?
okay,
And I'll bet you there's 15 changes to this new lease.
okay, on this movement, let's do this.
Okay,
What are you objecting to in the new lease?
number 4,
Number 4.
I don't know if those prices are right. Did you raise the price on the jet skis from 200 to 250? Or is that in this lease? that
Or
we
under
read?
rent.
Yeah, I see it. I don't know. Did we?
Yeah, it was raised, we voted on it.
Okay.
See, I might not be in that meeting, let me just speak on that, okay? What he has to do for them jet skis, he has to put in 2 augers that are 10 feet high, one here and one there.
Yeah.
That's it. You put your boat in, you put your lift in, you take it in, you take it out.
Let me stop you.
Okay, go ahead.
We already voted on.
Okay, yeah, but I wasn't here, okay.
I know.
All right. I'll back up because you did. And I told you, that brings it down to 11 from 556. That's $550 raised since the county took over the park from Caline. $550 more I'm paying for my pier and my jet ski. And that's quite a bit. You got 98 places, you're gonna get $800-900 for them, 72,000. We've got some aluminum on there. I don't know where the rest of the money's going, but hopefully we're using it.
Well,
Why do I want for this?
I'll tell you what.
Spent 12,000 on new piers this year.
Everything we earn,
Pardon?
everything we make goes back in.
I hope so, because we put a lot of money. Better than ever.
No, and I think we have a better idea of how that works as the board now because of that money that gets carried over. That it's not going anywhere else and it can't be spent by anyone else but us. But if we want to use it, we have to go to the council to get it.
You got another one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And to be honest, on exhibit B, and that starts with all the extra stuff on the piers.
What is it? Oh, is this exhibit B?
Yeah,
On the back.
Yeah. There was an exhibit B, yeah, there was an exhibit B in all previous years, but there's been some things that are added.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, number 4 on that, when it says no boat bumpers or any type, you touch the pier at any time. Everybody has bumpers on their boats, people have tires on their augers and that to keep the pier from being damaged. I don't understand what that's supposed to be.
Can I tell you what it means?
Yep.
Because when your boat bumper is squeezed between the boat and the pier, it pushes the pier. Your boat is not supposed to touch the pier at any time because the pier is only made to walk on. So the bumper gets pushed just like your boat would be pushing against the pier. So when the wind blows it, it pushes your boat over, the bumper's in between, it pushes the bumper to the pier and pushes the pier over. That's the whole reason for it.
So those bumpers on the side of the boat are useless, or the tires, is that what you're
And
saying?
these piers, because we do not tie to the piers. If you go someplace
I
that.
didn't say tied to the piers.
What?
I didn't say tied to the piers.
You didn't listen to what I said.
Okay,
When you go to a place that you tie to the pier, they have sturdy piers and the bumpers are made to protect your boat from that pier. Now, when your boat hits our pier, doesn't damage your boat, it damages our pier.
Right, but the bumpers are supposed to be, I think if.
Yeah, but the bumper is gonna serve just like the boat. When the boat pushes, the bumper's gonna push the pier over.
I'm not sure what the bumpers are made out of, but the bumpers are attached to either the shore station or the augers, right? Is that what, or am I misunderstanding something?
They're tied to his boat because he's in a pier spot.
well, and I'll tell you this, Gary's got the best of the best, I give him credit for that, I do, you know, the way his boat sits and everything. And everybody doesn't have that, and for people that have auger, well, even those other things, you're seeing tires out there to protect that and everything else. So I guess that's a no-no. So the next one, number 5, the ropes that are used for augering the boats must be 3/8 inch diameter. I'm not sure where that number came up with,
Because the 1/4 inch ones break in the wind.
okay, and there's no bungee cords allowed or permitted. I've been there since 2001. And I have never used nothing but bungee cords, and there's a lot of other people do, because there's a give in that in there, and with the bumpers and that, so. What that means now, I can't use my tires, I can't use my bungee cords, I have to replace ropes with 3/8 inches of that. I can't put tires on it anymore, and then furthermore down here, it says that you need to mark your augers, put your name and your phone number on an auger like this, which I think is ridiculous. Number 10, the water depth is not guaranteed at any time, you know, okay. We're not supposed to put mud on the pier, we should put that in there too, or not put grass on there, or maybe there's a sinkhole in there. Any damage to the pier that's caused by the watercraft has been replaced, and it's $50 an hour, and that, I know about that, because I did mine, nobody else did that, I'm not sure who makes the decision. I'm not sure how the insurance comes in, I'm not sure what a storm does, or what's covered.
So I guess I got a question for your tires.
Yep.
There's holes in the tires, and they
Yes.
go over the auger, right, and down into the water, but they're not touching the pier.
Well, you know what,
I'm just saying, let me finish, I didn't interrupt you guys.
I
The
put
setup-
tire
The setup is that the augers go in the water, the tires go over the augers. Now, if they break loose or they push over, maybe the rubber does hit that pier a little bit, but I rather have rubber hit it than the actual pole. So I'm not sure what this is meant to do, but I don't think we already have coverage for every other thing, that if there is damage done to the pier, that the people are responsible for repairing it. And that's happened in the last couple of years that I've been. So I'm not sure if this is as big of a deal as.
Well, it is now. Now it's my turn to talk, you talk.
Well, but we're gonna answer the next question, because I don't wanna mislead them. I do put a tire on the auger in the pier, just in case to keep it from lumping. A lot of people do that too. In other words, it's not only on my augers, but there is a tire on there. But it doesn't do, if there's any damage, I've already paid for my floorboards and that, and I don't have a problem doing that.
Right.
But the way this is written, I need new ropes, I need names on augers, I need.
Well, I think the actual rope thing is probably better for security, and the bungees probably pull a little bit more and have more likely a chance of.
Okay, let me explain this now. First of all his ropes are over 3/8 of an inch because I made you ropes last year and there's five things about it too.
Okay,
And the reason your pier got damaged last year, and we talked about this in the middle of the season, you had a bungee rope on it and the wind blew your boat and the bungee stretched and you bounced off the pier and that's how it happened. We told everybody in the middle of the season last year that had them, that we weren't gonna allow them next year because they tie up with the bungees. And when the boat sits there, it's fine, but when the wind blows, the bungee stretches and the boat goes into the pier. So all we said was fixed ropes, no bungee, so there's no give. There's
well, if you have fixed rope with bungee, that's not a big deal,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Right.
And the other thing is, the tires, you're right, but I've heard from the DNR now, EPA does not want tires in the water anymore.
Well, yeah, but this doesn't exclude tires, right?
Well, he says, yeah,
I'm just saying the exhibit itself doesn't say anything that excludes tires.
yeah,
Sounds like it should.
Further down it does.
I don't think it does.
I thought it did, unless we took that out.
I think we might have taken that one out.
I think we had nothing on piers.
I don't think we had anything about, I don't.
That was the reason.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything about tires not being, so I'm not sure you're so far out of line with what is in here. So I would do the,
Okay,
once this gets approved, we'll go out and take a look and see if there's any changes that need to be made for next year. If at all.
Because that's what we did last year, or this
okay,
year. That's
all
right.
right, so okay, let me ask this. I'm not a boater. I don't know beans about any of this, okay? You're saying that these tires damaged the piers?
Well, the tire, when you put a tire on the pier, it's almost like a solid surface. It gives a little, but when the boat blows into the tire, it pushes the pier over, the augers and everything, so I have to call the pier guy out to redo the augers that hold the pier up. Cause it's like hitting a solid surface. Nobody else, and I'm sorry, you can yell at me, nobody else gives me a problem with this. Everything I change, this man denies all the time.
Well, I just
It doesn't bother
want
anybody.
to understand what the problem is with the tire.
Cause when the boat hits the tire,
Yeah.
it's the same thing as the boat hitting the pier.
But if the boat, if the tire's on the auger,
No, on his auger, but people also hang tires on the pier augers. And they're not supposed to have anything, so when the boat pushes against the tire.
I didn't know there was tires on there.
oh yeah, so what we're saying is you can't put a tire on the pier auger.
Yes,
Are you okay with that?
If that's what the rule is, I'm okay with rules, I just.
Yeah.
Think about this, you take the tire off there, okay? Now the boat hits it, you got metal on metal, what good does that do? Now you're gonna damage the metal pier. That's a $1,000 section.
Well, let's take a step back. The reality of it is augers are not as secure as a shore station.
Right.
We've allowed it and it's gone back and forth. There's been disagreements. I don't know how it works, but so, I mean, as long as we're gonna allow it, augers are gonna do what augers do and storms are gonna blow boats around. And nobody had a problem, but I saw 5 houses down from my house. Got completely flipped over. You're right. And it happened last year. So I mean, last year was unusual, so.
but
And that was what the boat went. It was upside down.
first of all, there's not a single boat that's on those piers, on augers, that's on a metal pier. That's the first thing. There's not a single boat on augers that touches a metal pier.
And there never has been.
No.
Well, but, and we
No,
don't
that's
have.
what he just brought up. You hit a metal pier, you create.
Well, no, I think he was talking about the augers that holds up the pier.
But, if he was,
We're not any metal on the outside.
if he was to put it on his auger, fine, but we don't want him on the piers for that reason.
Well, I'm not sure we got a disagreement with how it's written, and let's see if, when the season happens, if we go out there and if there's.
Because we did this, we saw how it happened last year, that's why we changed it. This year, we changed it. And we went over this in the fall meeting, and that's what we discussed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I remember discussing it.
Yeah, I just don't remember that it was that clear. I know, I'm more clear on it now than I am.
Nobody's complaining about it. I have one complaint about it, and that's it, nobody else.
Well, let's not get into his personalities.
We can go back to day one when he tried to get me off the outside of the pier.
Well,
Let's start that.
Okay, let's do this. Let's leave it the way it is now and we'll take a look at it. In the spring, when we come out, we'll take a look at it and we'll make a
I
decision.
have one more thing to say, and I want this on video so everybody sees it. I have never, ever told you you weren't going on the outside pier, never. And first of all, you've only been on the outside for 2 years. You used to be on the walkway going out when Callahan was there. And I still have Callahan's maps that show it. But you have never been told by me that you were going off the outside pier, period.
I don't need to tell you, I was there before you came there.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was, I got that outside.
Tell me about the maps from Callahan.
I know, but it doesn't have, that's enough. Enough. It's enough.
It's only got,
It's enough. Right now, both of you,
if you stop him, I'll
Stop.
gladly stop.
you're both gonna stop.
That's fine.
I've told you to stop. If you don't stop, you're gonna leave. Now, we're gonna leave it in, we're gonna leave 4 in there for now.
Or I'm going. You were opposed to 22, but.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
we're gonna leave those in there and we'll check. Like I say, I don't know, but I'll go out there when
I'm glad to walk the piers with you anytime you want.
I will. I'll come out when the boats are out there and check it out. Yes,
Yeah, just one more, and the last one is still in there, having the same pier spot.
That's
is
number
not
20.
guaranteed from year to year. And it will, and you know, why do you put that in? You've got all the rules, you could kick me off anytime I violated it, but why have that in there to cause a problem?
But it also
it's not a
says,
problem.
but it
It's
also
not a
says,
problem.
it also,
We're not gonna make anybody move unless there's some good reason for
And
it.
why do you have that one in there?
All efforts will be made for you to remain in your same spot, okay? I guarantee you we'll make all efforts.
well, and
Alright.
as long as I've been on the board, no one who had asked for their same spot from the previous year has ever been denied. So if that's,
Okay,
I don't think we're.
right now, we're gonna take, I'll take a motion to accept the pier
slip lease.
first slip lease at this point.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
What was that motion for?
So the motion was to approve the pier slip
Approve the lease.
for lease and the exhibit for 2025.
Yeah.
So that
It's
this
right
can be,
here.
that's written here, so that it can be sent out for everyone to sign.
So then I gotta replace my rows, bungee cords, tires.
Well, it's out already, ropes already.
So I don't know what to do with it.
So let's go out and take a look at what your setup is to see and compare it to this when they go in.
Yeah.
And see what.
Your roads are good.
And if you made new ropes from and you were 5/8, he's already covered. I don't know. It sounds like maybe whatever you were holding the bungee from it, not hitting the pier, that maybe replace maybe one rope.
Right now, I'm done with piers. Can I hear more about piers today?
I'm glad you agree with that.
Okay. Last thing I have is for superintendent.
Okay, so let's see, the apparel fundraiser orders are due March 14th. I did promise to bring, I think that's the one thing I forgot, but I might be able to find some order forms in here if anyone needs, but so we've got a few more days for the apparel fundraiser, and then those will be picked up April 8th. And I've gotten a lot of orders,
All right.
and I think they're gonna turn out really
Does
nice
that mean no orders after that date?
after March 14th. Yep,
And when do they have to be picked up?
April 8th. And I'll make sure I get yours, yeah, I'll make sure you get yours, but it's the same day as the park board meeting, I made it that way on purpose, yeah.
So you pay by check? When
Yeah, you can do
order
a
it?
check, just make it to the park department.
Or you can pay when you pick it up?
Yep.
Okay, either one.
I'll be going, well, everyone knows now, I'll be going to the commissioners meeting this Monday to present the deed for the property donated by Dr. and Mrs. Fritz to the county for the Highway 23 launch, so I'll be there for that. Seasonal campers had until March 1st to let me know if they were returning this season, so I've been working on compiling the list of who's returning, calling people on the wait list. I'm still working through that, and so now I'll have peers to do. Our intern Ismail is working on, okay, so this is a big one. So he's working on designing a website so that weekend campers could use to reserve spots. I think this would streamline the whole process. And it would probably attract a lot more people too. I think if they didn't have to physically call me, give me their phone, your card numbers over the phone or all that, if they could just do it online, I think we'd get more campers. But the thing is that, in order to host something like this, because we put it on the Stark County website, I could even have it on the Facebook, but a server costs a monthly fee. And so the one that Ismail felt that was the best for us and the cheapest was something called Wix.com, W-I-X.
Familiar with.
So the most it would be is $36 a month, but he said he's pretty sure that it's really $18 a month and it's an advertising ploy that it's just on sale for.
So,
Yeah.
so has all this been coordinated with Stanley and his
Yes.
assistant? Because I just want to make sure that we're
Yep.
not doing anything that's against the county.
Yeah, Ismail called Luke, they talked, they figured it all out, and then he went from there.
So is this server, it's not county? A county server?
So
or-
this Wix.com would not be, so the website would be on the county, but because it's a secure, server. They're okay with having it embedded there, it'd be like, click here to make your reservations, you can click it and go to there.
So the money goes, so we've been working with the treasurer too then?
No, it would still all be through PayGov, just like it is now, it would just be online, all online. So.
But that goes into the treasury.
No, it would still come into our account. I'd still have to make the deposit and all that. The same, everything would be the same, except for people would be making their reservations online, which would cost us money.
So then what you would have to do is go in and put what dates are available,
Yeah,
go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then once they're reserved, just like everything else, once they're reserved, you can't click it.
Just like making a hotel reservation.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
I just want to make sure that we're coordinated with the.
Yes,
county.
actually, like I said, I talked to Stanley and Luke myself, and then Luke said, have Ismail call me. They talked while Ismail was down in Purdue and figured it all out, and that's where we are.
And I guess we just should double check and make sure that we're okay, that State Board of Accounts doesn't have any issues with doing it this way.
I don't know why they would, because every other campground does online.
No, I know, but not every other campground has to be with State Board of Accounts, so
Yeah,
so we should at least ask.
okay. Okay, so speaking of Ismail, we were awarded, the grant that he applied for through Arrowhead County RCD. He got $3,500 to go forward with his plan for the groins and the erosion project. And he titled it the Bass Lake Beach Restoration Project. So we were awarded $3,500 to do that. And we are accepting the check on April 1st at the Pulaski County Library.
Oh,
Okay, so now
I was just shocked he's able to do it for that kind of money, but we're probably.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. He asked for 5,000, got 3,500, but that's okay. He said he can figure it all out. So let's talk about a few more quotes, I guess. Let's see here.
And he is a part-time employee now, right?
Yes.
Right?
Okay, so we talked about, so we pass these down. So these are bundled.
Just take mine.
So the fence, I went back to, I believe it was last June, where you guys talked about, approved a fence for one side of the campground, and it was to be white vinyl split rail. And it was around $6,000 was what was approved. So basically what I have come to understand is that the white vinyl split rail is expensive. And it was going to be doable because some volunteers were going to do it, but that kind of fell apart. So what I asked, and this is just something for us to talk about now, we'll see how it goes. So I called several fencing companies, but this was the only person I got to give me a quote, come out and give me a quote. So we can keep trying to get quotes, but at least it gives us somewhere to start, or we can act on one of them, whatever you want to do. But what I decided to ask for was instead white pine split rail on both sides of the driveways. So, the one side it was going to be on and the other side. I think number one, it's just aesthetically better. And also that would allow down towards the end, we could use, I think, that's where tent spots 1 and 2 are. And that would really add some safety down there where that is. And then the other one, so I asked
So
him,
this is about 2,000 or 3,000 more. Than.
yeah, but to do both sides. So really, and to have someone do it for us. And while I'm on the subject of that, and what makes this need to happen a little faster was, so the crew was working, on the campground side in the bathroom, and we've been using the old gate that's probably been there since 1880 or so. It finally just fell over. So, I mean, it's just melted. And I was hoping that we have some posts that they saved from the playground equipment, but I would like to have these guys sink those posts, and then I think we can get it fixed.
So you can hang the gate, the
gate.
existing gate on those.
We can either do the existing gate, or I checked at Smith's, they have pretty reasonably priced like cattle panels, I thought might be just as easy to. And then, so I know that our wish is to eventually, at least soon in our short range plan, to switch out that chain link fence. That is also from 1880, but actually it's not from 1880, it's from 1960. And I found in some of the boxes, the old paperwork, that they did the original quote on that fence in 1956, got the work finished in 1960 for $5,000. So here we are. And now the quote is $55,000.
Wow.
So I was thinking, maybe we keep this in our back pocket and maybe have some events, some fundraisers.
Well, and the other thing too is I thought I saw in the last minutes that one of the solars is gonna give us 4,000 a year. Maybe that could be the beginning of where this capital account goes every year
That's a
until
good
we're
point.
ready to do
I
it.
had one question about that. Can we get it in a lump sum instead of spread over 15 years?
We can always ask.
Is that towards, is
I don't
that
think
to
he's-
the?
It's not towards anything. It's
No,
towards
is
the
it-
park board.
Is it towards the park board? It's
Yeah,
not for
towards the-
counties or anything,
However we want to use it.
It's a donation.
strictly park board.
Mhm.
4,000 a year for 15 years.
Okay. All right, I would entertain a motion to buy the spirit rail fence for the campsite.
And we have that money in.
Yeah, this we can take care of out of our budget right now.
I'd entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll
You
make
wanna
that
accept-
motion.
Do we want to accept the one bid we have or try and search for a couple more?
It's the one bid we got, right?
It's the only bit I was able to get.
She reached out to a few companies and it was the only one that.
When can you do it? Can they do it right away or?
I think he seems like he could get on it once we let him know.
Not about the efforts. Would we be better off setting steel posts for the gates instead of using the old wooden posts from the playground?
Maybe.
I don't
It's just
know.
that the old posts were.
But let's deal with this first.
Oh, that's what I meant after this.
Yeah, let's do it this, okay? There's been a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, and well, one more while we're at it. So we have in your packets it says insulation, gas line or gas line for like. So we've been talking about how the original renovation plan did not include heat. And so no insulation, no, all the gas lines were set to be capped and closed forever. Forever. It was never gonna come back. So I got, basically, this is the quandary though. I can't get quotes on these sorts of things. These are going to be taken care of through Brown and Brown because they're doing the work, so you can't really have people stacked on top of each other. So this first one, the proposed cost for the gas lines, I called Todd from Brown and Brown today to just, make sure I understood everything. So their labor's free. That's why you don't see any labor here because the stuff they're doing is already included in the price. They're not going to charge us more. So the only thing down here, so the subcontractor, the E.G. White, who's doing all the plumbing out there now, they'd be doing it and that would be their cost. And so behind that, Rick checked this plan. He said, yes, this is what we want, the drawing. And then it's got, just for transparency, they wrote out a list of all of the things they need to complete the project. And that will, what they got. So they did go try to get the best deal for us they could.
Wouldn't this be just a normal change order request for the project?
No,
You
because
think it-
because we're adding it on top of what we, you know, changing the scope of the work,
Wasn't
basically.
part of it.
Yeah, it has to be extra.
Uh.
And then this part is to protect the grant, you know, to make sure we would cover.
Would this
that.
allow us to utilize the beach house over the winter?
Yes. If without these things, we would not be able to utilize probably
You
one
still need
thing.
more though, because this is just moving the lines. Anything to hook up
Yes.
to those lines.
So the second page you see there, that's the big cost.
Huh?
That's the insulation. So you can see on there, now that's the spray foam that's gonna go, I think all inside everything,
Wait a minute.
inside the walls, the roof decks.
Okay, I'm lost.
Okay, so now we're looking at the one that's like a $26,000 round and round.
Insulation.
Yep,
Okay, and then the 6,000 is
The gas
the
line.
gas lines?
yep. So I guess I would need your guys' permission to also go to the council and ask about this. But if we don't do these things, we won't be able
We
to,
won't ever,
we'll never be able,
Well, if you do it in the future, it's gonna be a lot more expensive to do it.
and harder, because you'd have to probably
You
go.
have to do it now.
Yeah,
Right.
because the walls are gonna be open, and that's what Todd said, especially the insulation, they're getting about to the place. They're almost there, so
I personally think it would be a mistake not to do this.
I think.
Not only for heat, but I think at some point you're gonna wanna have air conditioning in the summer also.
Well, and some of that space out there is office space, right?
Right.
So we want to be able to have
Yeah.
you out there as much as possible during the summer, so we're gonna want to
Yeah.
condition here.
Did you have something?
So my understanding that when the round quote came in, you still have money left over after that?
It was about
Yeah,
30,000.
so yeah, so that's a good question. They did not offer to use any of that, which makes me think they're trying to make sure they have enough. I'm not really sure, but you're right, they did say we
Because
had
then
that.
that would, you know, maybe you could put that towards your insulation or your roof.
I could ask Todd that too. That's a good point.
Well, I certainly think, we ought to approach the council and the commissioners and try and get funds for this. Because I just think we're gonna really regret it if we don't do this, I think.
But how soon do we need, this is coming up, right? I mean, this ain't,
Well,
this is not
let's
something we're
have-
gonna be able
I'll
to.
just have to let Todd know that we have to wait until I can
When's their next meeting?
Monday.
We're already on the agenda for something?
No, but I know somebody who might be able to get me on the agenda.
Okay,
I'll get around.
What time do they meet?
The council or the commissioners,
Council.
6 o'clock at night.
yeah, because we should probably talk to them about the earlier thing and this at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you make that one? or
Then
no?
commissioners,
try.
when do they-
Monday?
9:30 in the morning.
in the morning. Yeah.
No, we can both go. I can go, but
Yeah, let's
you
try
can
to
make it
do
too, yeah.
Okay. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, we just gotta make sure we got all our ducks in a row, that maybe we can get together beforehand so that we can be prepared when we go in there, so.
Kind of want to bring up the air conditioning thing.
Yeah.
So is that nowhere on anything?
No.
Heat or air? No,
No,
not,
neither.
and neither one, it was all to his, like historical, the way it was before, so they never added any air or heat, because there wasn't air and heat
So-
originally.
Well,
Okay,
I think it was also done to try to make as many improvements structurally as we could without,
Going over budget.
Mhm.
right, but
within the funds.
even this summer, if she's gonna go in that office after it's all done, she's gonna,
I'm not, I can do it.
Well,
A single. room
I'll
would be
get
air
paid.
conditioning.
it's gonna have this
Money.
kitchen there going, it's gonna be.
if there's a window.
Well, to see,
Just for
Portable.
some of the things that, I think that I think we can still do that whether it's insulated.
So we're
or
talking
not.
about window units?
Yeah,
we have a couple out there already that we can at least use until we figure out
So, yeah.
something better.
it just isn't gonna work as good if you didn't have the insulation
Yeah,
to keep it
it
in,
wouldn't.
so.
I have a couple of window units in my basement. You can have. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, but. I don't know how hard it'd be to put vents in for the air conditioning.
But if they're gonna do vents, then they're gonna have to address it now.
Well, now they have the ones that go in the
that's a
wall
good
with the units on the outside. and
Mini
everybody's
splits.
using.
They're called mini splits.
Yeah.
Mini splits.
That-
Don't require any forced air vents.
Rick said he's not a huge big fan of mini splits, but he thinks for this project, they would be
They would work.
best and most affordable.
And do they need to be done now or can we?
Nope, he can, well,
Do
he
it
said we'll
anytime.
do that when it's all done.
Okay.
And you get
Okay.
heat and air conditioning out of it.
You can. Okay.
Cool.
Okay with
Good
that.
point,
Oh,
though.
great. Okay.
Longer term planning, great idea.
And that is the end of my superintendent's report. Do you have any questions about the ledgers that I sent? I would like to, I am doing the extra monthly budget report that I've been submitting to the auditor, but I think I'm gonna try something different next month. I'm gonna try just an Excel spreadsheet and do it that way, because I'm just doing the same work that's already on the ledgers. It doesn't make any sense.
One thing I know is that the council's kind of taking a new tack to where they don't like to approve anything at the same meeting, so. We're gonna have to make sure we know what the timeline is that we would need
Yeah.
their approval for stuff.
Yeah.
going,
Sounds like the new timeline's 1 month.
Yeah, at least, well, if we went to them at this meeting, we wouldn't get approval then, it wouldn't be the
The
following
good
one.
thing in our favor is that other departments are asking for money from the county general, but this is our money. We're just asking.
Well, all of it except for this last part.
We're not gonna we wouldn't use some of our carry forward money for that, or could we?
Well, we definitely could on I would think the 6,000, but the 26, I'm not sure, I mean, because I'm the brown stuff.
Okay,
But that's gotta be approved soon because
yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna be getting into that part.
no,
Okay.
okay.
All right. Any other business? I knew you were gonna have something.
One thing we passed over, and I have to agree with, that gate that we're replacing there, Jimmy and the steel post. You were saying, we can't afford the money, and Larry brought that up.
I got you. Okay.
As far as the work going there, and the contractor, and everything going to that place, it's just going up, it's just massive, and what you see is coming. And I think the people, when they get in there this spring and that, are gonna see some of the changes that they want. And it only did better,
So,
tribute to you guys and Amy and everybody else working in there.
yeah, we're trying.
Sent me a text, it was 57,000 for the property owner.
Total.
Oh.
Yeah, what's the difference between the fasteners and
Yeah.
the?
Fine,
So I'll take a bill it too. I mean, like,
guys, is on your radar, just planning's underway for the World Environment Day event that we've done the last 3 years out at the Stark County Forest. And it's been a partnership between the Stark County Parks and Stark County Community Foundation. And so it's on Thursday, June 5th. It's like an all-day event, just a good way to check out the Stark County Forest. And we're celebrating art this year, so just.
What day did we just say that
It's
was?
a Thursday.
Thursday.
It's on World Environment Day, and they do things all across the country for that day, and we've had people from other counties come out to that for hikes and different things, so there'll be more info shared at future meetings, I'm sure, but just wanted to put it on your guys' radar so you knew that that would be in June.
Thank you, Jackie. I am actually meeting with Bruce this week
Yeah.
too.
I just want to say this. Dave and I and Amy,
Teresa,
Teresa, we all went out there a couple of weeks ago. And Bruce took us around and showed us everything and if you've never been to the Stark County Forest, and I mean, I'm not a forest person either, but if you've never been there, take a day and go out there sometime. It's a beautiful place. It was beautiful in the winter. It's more beautiful in the spring and summer. And Bruce Wakefield is a godsend blessing to this county, what he's done out there. And it's a natural, what's he call it?
Marsh.
Yeah, there's a marsh, but it's a,
Habitat?
well, it's a natural forest, wood forest. He's got all kinds of specimens of trees out there. He maintains it all and keeps it all going. And soon we're gonna have a bunch of, what are the trees? I can't think of them.
Walnuts.
The walnuts. It's gonna be worth about $110,000 once they're ready to be cut down. But beyond that, the place is beautiful. It's very serene. There's places to sit out there. And I'm just saying, if you've never been there, really take a day and go out there sometime when the weather's nice. You can take your lunch or whatever, but it's really a beautiful place.
Yeah, there's a nice big elevated
Yeah.
tower that you can climb up and it's
Yeah, there's
great.
a lot of things to see out there and, if it weren't for Bruce, we wouldn't have
Yeah.
that. So
We are.
it really is, an asset the county has. Okay, unless anybody has something else. I'll
Nothing
call.
from Crowers Beach, everything's going good out there?
Well, I haven't started cleaning yet, it's kind of early. I wanted an update, I was gonna talk to you.
Okay, I have the signs are still in the works, but I have to get out there and measure, I thought, how am I gonna measure that road sign? But I have to measure the one on the road with the arrow, so.
All right.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Yes,
A second,
but
all in
safely.
favor?
Hi.
Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
we get two for speed limit signs
Speed limits.
to put at the beach entrance? I understand totally. It's like stop signs.
Well, stop signs.
Gotta be
do it.
Truck in the parade.
Right in there.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it, 'cause everybody sees the reason.
There's a lot of wraparound on the field.
Thank you.
We did with that, I did wrong. That's okay.
So maybe you'll get your name there.
Okay.
Put slots to the.
Those are expensive. Same old truck.
They're expensive and they're a real pain.
He survived his day up in.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a. So I'm gonna wait for you today.
Yeah, I wanted.